What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming packages. Part one, the physical infrastructure package, which has passed the Senate and will now be moving on to the House of Representatives. And part two, the next stimulus package, which will be the largest stimulus package ever, which has been announced at $3.5 trillion, which is now in the voting process in the Senate. Also, we talk about the economy, what's going on in the United States, what's going on in Washington, D.C., pretty much everything you need to know about. We have a major announcement from President Biden and the White House to go over in this video. Several things to talk about. We continue to see pretty much major announcements coming from the White House since we have basically things getting worse, the economy getting worse, the pandemic getting worse, with people, over 100,000 people every single day on average testing positive from the Delta variant. As things getting worse, we're continuing to see more and more emergency stimulus measures coming out almost on a weekly basis. We'll be going over those emergency measures that they have just passed here recently and this brand new measure that just came out. We'll go over several different things that the White House has recently announced, as well as this new measure. It's actually a permanent measure that will help out 40 plus million people. Yeah, it's actually a huge thing. As this pandemic continues to go on, they're literally trying to get out emergency stimulus measures even before they pass this huge $3.5 trillion package, which is really going to have the big bulk of everything. They're really trying to get emergency stimulus out to the people before that. So without further ado, let's get into the breaking stimulus items. Don't forget to hit the like button for us and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. I will be bringing you guys breaking information like this all the time as soon as we hear about it. Okay, so number one, first thing, President Biden administration approves the largest increase to food assistance benefits in SNAP program history. The SNAP program is about 1 in 8 Americans in the United States get this, over 40 million people. The SNAP program is also called the Food Assistance Program or the Food Stamp Program. Has several different names. You probably know what it is, especially if you're on it, the SNAP program. Benefits will rise by 25% on average. Yeah, this is going to be a permanent raise. And here's the interesting thing, that they're actually announcing this tomorrow. We already have news on it, so I'm actually bringing you the information before they actually announce it. I'll give you more information here in a second. And they don't even need to do this through Congress. So they're actually doing this before the stimulus package. In fact, the stimulus package actually could provide an additional boost to this. Remember, we've had in the previous stimulus packages where they provided a temporary, like, additional 15% boost. You never know. This next stimulus package could provide an additional boost to this as well. An infusion of cash that advocates say better reflects the modern cost of a basic diet. Yeah. So again, the Biden administration approves the largest increase to the food assistance benefits SNAP program in history. Benefits will rise by 25% on average. The Biden administration has approved the largest increase to the Food Assistance Benefit Program in the history of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, in a move that will substantially retool the program to provide the targeted assistance advocates have long said is desperately needed by poor families. By the way, if you're low or low middle income and you think you might be eligible for this, just after this video, go to Google and just Google your state. So for example, California SNAP program, Ohio SNAP program, Texas SNAP program, and go and apply for it, because again, they say that the average person before this raise gets about $121 per month. And that is per person. So a family of 4 could get $500 because, that's per person. So $121 per person. And that is before the raise of 25% based on this new rule change or this new raise. Okay, I'll get to some more information in a minute. But if you're low to middle income, please go and apply because again, this is benefits that is provided by the government, and there's over 40 million people that are on this program. So please, if you're not getting this program, if you've been turned down in the past or anything like that, you might want to go and reapply. They have new rules, and you might just be eligible. You never know, because again, this just could provide hundreds or over the course of a year, thousands of dollars in food assistance or money for food to your family. So again, this new benefit will rise an average of 25% above what it is now. The increase are based on an update to the Thrifty Food Plan, the formula used to calculate benefits, which surveys the changing cost of various categories of food. First reported by the New York Times and confirmed by a spokeswoman at the USDA, average monthly benefits, which were $121 per person before the pandemic, will rise by about $36 under new rules. Now, I believe that this varies by state and all sorts of various things can it can be different by per person. I know some people can get higher, some people can get lower. It can be based on various different things. So again, this is the average per person. Your results may vary on how much money you get for SNAP. Many anti-hunger advocates have long believed the Thrifty Food Plan's metrics, how they decide how much you get on the SNAP program, are out of date with economic realities most struggling households face. They say the plan, formulated in the 1960s, was designed when many American families still had one working parent, giving the other parent more time for labor-intensive but cheaper cooking from scratch. In the past 2 decades, more working families are made up of two wage earners or a single parent, leaving less time for soaking beans and simmering stews. The Biden administration has asked the USDA to revise the Thrifty Food Plan to better reflect the modern cost of a healthy basic diet. During the Trump administration, stimulus relief bills did not expand SNAP for the 40% of recipients already receiving the maximum benefit. In January, President Biden signed an executive order allowing states to increase SNAP emergency allotments, allowing an additional 12 million people to receive enhanced benefits. The new changes to SNAP are permanent, aimed at addressing pandemic-related surge and hunger in America, when projections predicted 50 million people, including 17 million children, would be considered food insecure at the end of 2020. But advocates say the infusion of funding corrects benefits that fall far short of demand and problems they say has existed for at least a decade. Now, this is just one of the emergency stimulus measures that they have done here in recent weeks with the 100,000 plus positive virus cases raging on here recently. Just in the last few days to few weeks, they have extended the student loan payment pause that was set to expire. They've extended this until January 31st with an almost 6 months extension. They announced, this was like last Friday, the student loan payment pause moratorium. The payment pause on student loans would be extended until January 31st, just weeks before the pause was set to expire at the end of September, helping out, again, this one over 40 million people as well. So this student loan payment pause and interest pause and penalty pause as well will help out over 40 million people, as well as this permanent increase of SNAP program, which will help the average person get almost $500 in yearly increases per person. So a family of four could get, what is that, about $36 per month. That's almost $500 per year per person. So a family of four is going to get almost $2,000 or about almost $500 per person, just on quick math here. So again, this is stimulus item number one they've done here just today. It's actually going to come out tomorrow. Stimulus item number, this again, the SNAP program is for over 40 million people. Stimulus item number two, they did here like last week, the student loan payment pause. This is also going to help over 40 million people. That's over 80 million people that they've helped here in recent weeks. The CDC extended the eviction moratorium. This is going to help over 10 million people. They're not exactly sure how many people this is going to help. I've seen various numbers of anywhere over 10 million people up to 15 million people. It really just depends on exactly how many people. But again, somewhere between 10 and 15 million people on the eviction moratorium. Also, the Social Security cost of living adjustment that has big news that have come out here within the last few days could be 6.2%, which would be the largest raise in almost 40 years. That's, again, almost the largest raise in at least 30 years, maybe 40 years alone. That will be a decent help as well. Again, last year, the Social Security raise was only 1.3%. So this would be a 4 times higher raise. We don't know the exact number until October. We will be keeping a close eye on this as well. But they are doing lots of different emergency stimulus measures here, kind of as the things come out. We've had the largest SNAP program increase, the student loan payment pause, the eviction moratorium, and all this is before the stimulus package even gets signed into law. Of course, they're working on the largest stimulus package ever at $3.5 trillion. Of course, we also have a lot of other stimulus measures that could be coming down the pipeline, like the $200 per month Social Security increase that would be for all Social Security beneficiaries, in addition to the yearly COLA increase, cost of living adjustment, that has been proposed by Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer, Senate Majority Leader Elizabeth Warren, and Ron Wyden. Their plan to increase Social Security benefits by $200 per month for all Social Security beneficiaries, as well as the states that are giving out stimulus checks and stimulus type programs. Of course, we know California is the main one doing it right now with their second round of $600 stimulus checks that are going to actually be going out next month in September. That's the second round of stimulus checks going out to people who make between $30,000 and $75,000. That's going to be going out to over 25 million people. The first round of California state stimulus checks went out to people making under $30,000. And about 2/3 of Californians are now going to be receiving, between the first round and the second round, the California state stimulus checks, and an additional $500 for a total of $1,100 for Californians who have children. And we hope that more states will step up to the plate and use their stimulus money from the third stimulus check, because states and cities and counties got $350 billion from the third stimulus check package. And we hope that more states, cities, and counties will be using their stimulus money as stimulus checks for their residents. Other states, cities, and counties are doing programs like this. Florida gave first responders and educators and teachers stimulus checks in the form of $1,000 stimulus checks in some cases. New Mexico gave residents who were not eligible for stimulus checks up to a $750 stimulus checks, or give them a stimulus check in cases that they weren't eligible for previous stimulus checks. Residents must apply to the Yes NM portal. The state of New York, as you can see here, created a $2.1 billion fund to provide payments of up to $15,600 for workers who are undocumented and were thus excluded from receiving federal stimulus relief. Again, I don't make the rules here, so if you find this controversial, don't blame me. I'm just here reporting the news. But New York also has, of this $2.1 billion, the majority of that money is for rent assistance and mortgage assistance, just to be clear here. I'll actually prove that. You can actually see here, this is all the way back from May. Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's not even really the governor anymore, he has announced his retirement or resignment among scandal. We reported that here on the channel. Again, I'm not from either party, so I'll kind of tell you the dirt on either party. But former Governor Andrew Cuomo, he's still the governor for the next, like, I don't know, 10 days or so. They announced $3.5 billion in rent assistance for renters and small businesses, $2.7 billion for rent assistance to provide funding for households experiencing hardship, and $800 million for small business recovery grants. Both New York and California did give some money to undocumented workers who have ITIN numbers. Again, I'm just telling you guys the truth here. I don't make the laws, but I do tell you guys the truth, sir. Whether you think it's controversial, whether you think that's right or think that's wrong, that's up for you guys to decide. But I will tell you the truth either way. The state of Texas isn't providing stimulus checks. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, guys. But some local school districts are. Specifically, school employees in Denton will receive a $500 retention bonus, along with a pay increase of 2% if they return. And those who work in Irving, Texas will receive a $2,000 retention bonus. Several other districts have voted to approve pay raises, but not direct stimulus payments, or at least yet. And remember, these are all the things on the list, and really kind of some of these things are kind of already coming to fruition even without the stimulus package being passed yet. Remember, the majority of these things are going to be passed with the big package, the stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion. That's where we're hoping to see stimulus checks in addition to all these things in here. Now, remember, every single thing is not going to be in this package. It's just not realistic to think that every single thing is going to be in this package. But we're starting to see some things like SNAP, number 16 here, was literally done outside of the package. It just announced it today. We've seen not student loan forgiveness, but we've seen the student loan payment pause and interest pause done until January of 2022. So 6 more months of that. And then we also saw the eviction moratorium, which I don't even have on this list. But if you're, behind on rent and you were going to possibly be thrown out on the streets, I mean, that's a pretty important thing. So again, that's just one thing that's not even on this list that was recently done here. So we've had like 3 or 4 different things here that were done because of how bad this pandemic is getting, with 100,000 plus people on average testing positive every single day. And they're just literally trying to do whatever they can while they're trying to pass it through Congress, trying to pass this package through Congress, which will be the largest stimulus package ever. And this really just kind of, the proof just keeps adding up that there's going to be a lot of stimulus in this package. Now, exactly what, we don't know, but if you just kind of look at what they're doing here, they've just passed the eviction moratorium. And Biden and Congress is saying, hey, we got to provide emergency relief. What can we do right now? Boom, we just passed the eviction moratorium to keep tens of millions of people from losing their home, losing their the place they rent. Boom, we got to provide the student loan payment pause, because again, we want to just provide help for people, so people don't have to pay their student loans hundreds of dollars, or probably hundreds of dollars per month for most people. They don't have to pay that for 6 more months. We honestly could see a mortgage forbearance continuation here. So if you have a mortgage, we might see mortgage forbearance where just like student loan forbearance, you might not have to pay your mortgage. We might see an announcement on that as well, where basically the government, we had that last year. It was for like a year, and then they even had a little bit of an extension. We might see that come again as well. If cases continue to get bad and the economy continues to get bad, we might see that is one thing they could do without Congress. We might see the government step in and say, hey, because remember, the government owns the majority of mortgages through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. We could see the government step in here and say, we're going to provide mortgage forbearance. Mortgage forbearance, where basically the government can step in and say, hey, if your mortgage is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac on the back end, you might not even know this because your mortgage is probably just done through a local bank, but the vast majority of mortgages are on the back end, backed by the government. Okay, you can literally just call up. It's not probably available right now. You can call up your bank if you want to ask, and ask if forbearance is available without any penalties or any negative marks on your credit or anything like that. And all it is basically it's just like the student loan payment forbearance. It's basically you don't have to pay your payments, and there's no negatives at all. There's no interest. There's no penalties. And all it basically is you don't have to pay your payments. It's just like a pause in time. It's like you don't have to pay your payments. It's like a payment relief. Okay, so it's basically a breath of, I don't even know how to explain it. How do I explain it? It's a payment. They put your loan on pause to give you relief from your debt, and there's no negatives. There's no negatives. You don't get a black mark on your credit. You don't get interest. Interest doesn't accumulate. Literally no negatives. But I always caution everybody when you do something like that, especially when the mortgages, because some of these mortgage companies, you got to make sure you know what you're doing. Get it in writing and make sure you know what you're doing. Okay. Because I just feel like some of these mortgage companies are a little bit shifty, you know. Just make sure you know what you're doing, right? Okay. I feel like the student loan payment pause it's a little more clear cut, you know. So with the mortgages, I feel like I just feel like some of these mortgage companies are a little bit shifty. You know what I'm saying, right? Just feel like you know what I'm saying here. The student loan payment pause, it's I feel like it's a little bit easier there. I don't have student loans, but you can let me know if you agree or disagree there. But if they reopen the mortgage forbearance, I feel like that could be one of the things coming next. But honestly, I mean, you can see these headlines, man. They are just literally, because the pandemic literally went from like it was almost over to now it's full blown crazy. Full blown crazy. We went from 5 or 10,000 cases a day to now almost 200,000 cases a day. I don't know, man. I don't know. The one thing I do know is they're literally trying to pop out emergency stimulus as fast as they can. They've done like 3 or 4 things right now, and I would not be surprised if they don't try to do emergency stimulus checks. Whether they can do that through executive order, I mean, that's always kind of been a question, whether they can or not. We had former President Trump do them for unemployment stimulus checks. He had those infamous executive order for unemployment bonus stimulus checks of $300 per week for 6 weeks. And everybody said he couldn't do it, but he did do it. And then he did it, and then the Democrats didn't challenge him, and they stuck. And anybody who was on unemployment basically got 6 weeks of stimulus checks for $300, $1,800 through executive order. So, but honestly, we got this huge $3.5 trillion package that they're like voting on in the Senate. So it's almost just like, I don't know if we need to do that, because you should just include them in this next package and pass it. So I mean, we're so close, just pass the package. So meanwhile, they're like doing all this like crazy stuff. Like the SNAP increase is really, really good because it's a permanent increase, and they can actually have an additional increase in the stimulus package, a temporary increase on top of that. So they could do a SNAP increase like 15% on top of the 25% on top of that. That could be very interesting too. So let me know your thoughts. The good news is that almost every week we literally have like a new thing that they're doing, this emergency type of stimulus. Like every week we have like something new coming out. So I'm actually feeling kind of good. It's not like stimulus is dying, like they're doing nothing. Every week something new is coming out. Like they're helping tens of millions of people with some type of new stimulus program every week. Yeah. So I'll keep you up to date with everything going on with stimulus, going on with our economy, going on with this never-ending pandemic. It seems like it's never going to end. Yeah. Make sure to subscribe down below. You can click the bell icon after subscribing to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video is my newest video about Social Security raise. There's like 2 or 3 Social Security raises potentially on the horizon. So click one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.